And welcome to NBA Countdown Stay Home Edition. Maria Taylor alongside our senior NBA insider, Adrian Wojnarowski. Woj, it's good to have you back on the show again. How have you been?
I've been great, Maria. It's good to be back with you.
We have a little bit of news that's interesting. It's kind of permeating throughout our basketball world because Jalen Green, projected to be the #1 overall prospect as a recruit in our ESPN 100 for 2020, has decided to forgo college and go straight to the NBA G League. What has been the tidal wave that has basically permeated the NBA and basketball since he's decided to make this decision, Woj?
Maria, it's a different route, a different program that has been in place until now, and this was changed here really in conversations with Adam Silver, Sharif Abdul-Rahim, who is the president of the G League, and what they have done now is given prospects like Jalen Green, who is projected the #1 pick in next year's draft. You know, Jonathan Gavoni, our draft analyst, would tell you if he was in this year's draft, he might also be the #1 pick. That players of that elite level who would want to make the jump, #1, they're going to pay them more than $500,000 a year, we're told. And they're not putting them in the G League. They're not going to Maine or Fort Wayne or being assigned to a team. They're going to be in a year-long development program. In Green's case, it'll be based out of Southern California with possibly other prospects who decide he is probably not going to be the last player in this class to do this. And then a mix of veteran players who they'll bring in to mentor Green, other young players who, for those players, they'll get paid. There'll be the scouting attention that's going to come with these young players who still might want to continue their career at a high level. And they're going to play exhibition games. They may play G League teams in games, national teams. They might go to Australia and play there at the NBA Academy in Australia for a few weeks, play exhibitions. But those were really the two hurdles for the NBA. #1 was money and getting that kind of money to come play in the G League for a year or play in that system. And then #2, not having to be assigned to a specific team and have to go through that G League grind at 17, 18 years old. And what really pushed this thing along, Maria, was LaMelo Ball, RJ Hampton going to Australia for around that same amount of money. And Adam Silver saying there's no reason that these players should have to go across the world to play if they don't want to be in that NCAA structure. We've got to adjust our model. The NBA has done that. And I think the landscape of amateur and pro basketball is going to tilt with this decision.
Do you think there could be any future effects on obviously the one and done rule in general? Because I know that was a conversation that was being had, or the ability for a high school prospect to make the jump to the NBA if they did not see fit in going to college.
Maria, a lot of the reason why the NBA was so motivated to bulk up what they call their professional pathway program was because the one and done rule is going to continue to be in place. Nothing has changed with it. Negotiations with the Players Association have remained stagnant, and that is years away from going away. And so this is really a bridge for the NBA until the union and the league can agree on the parameters of the circumstances around it changing. That's not going to happen for the next 3 or 4 years, even if they agreed today. And they're nowhere in talks on it. So this kind of bridges between now and whenever that rule changes, that players have now a real ability to make a choice. What was in place before was $125,000 a year stipend, and you could go, you'd be assigned to a G League team. They put that in place before last season. There wasn't one elite prospect who chose that.
Well, it's interesting now that the option involves $500K and obviously all of the developmental tools that are going to be handed to a guy like Jalen Green.
And a shoe deal, Maria. And you can go get endorsements. Jalen Green's going to get a significant shoe deal. And so he can do that a year sooner than having to wait for the NBA draft. So financially, for the elite player, he's going to make in total package, he'll spend that year at over $1 million in most cases.
Yeah, that'd be hard to turn down too, like certainly. And that's a good decision by Jalen Green. And maybe it's just a new beginning for what we're going to start seeing some of these top prospects deciding to do with their future. Woj, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for spending some of your time with us on NBA Countdown Stay Home Edition. And I'm in my kitchen too. So, I mean, we'll try to keep it really safe in the kitchen.
Absolutely. Thanks, Maria. I'll see you soon.
See ya. All righty then. So we've already heard from Woj, and now the rest of the crew is here. Uncle P, Paul Pierce, Jay Will, Jalen Rose.
What up? What up?
That's how you know all of that energy is because this is our first NBA Countdown Stay Home edition of the week. So everyone's just excited to see each other.
Hey, P, what happened, P?
What up? Man, listen. We gonna get into that.
What had happened was
you talking about the horse, right? First off, it was raining, as y'all can see. It was raining in LA. Winds were heavy. I mean, man, you know how it is to play outside when the winds are heavy, man. Dang. And plus, he's supposed to beat me. He in mid-season form. If I beat him, he would have got criticized and they probably wouldn't have re-signed him.
So I'm here for defense of the truth. Zach LaVine did to him what Trae Young should have did to Chauncey. He went athletic.
Yeah, he sure did.
The one time when he slapped the glass on the left side and did the reverse.
What was that one?
Only 13 people ever can do that.
Hey, I said, dude, if you do that again, I'm gonna just give you the letter. I was just gonna give him the letter.
Hey man, finally Zach LaVine's had one heck of a week, man. He beat you, he got engaged. I mean, things are going well for Zach right now. Let him live a little bit.
I just thought we had such a good game plan for you, Paul, before you went and played. Remember we were talking about the mid-range, you were gonna call everything tank, but I
couldn't anticipate the weather. It was, you know, I'm used to playing in those conditions, but since he is in mid-season form and I didn't have a lot of practice, you know, I can knock down mid-range shots, but he took control and he didn't miss too many shots, man. My hat's off to him. My hat's off.
And as a baby Twitter follow, I've seen Zach LaVine playing on his court a lot more than Paul Pierce.
Yeah.
There's a lot more footage you can Google of Zach LaVine with his dog and on his court than Paul Pierce with his Boston Celtics court that looks really dope.
Paul, we'll say this though. Your court though, you got the best court in the game though.
Let him know.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, too bad I couldn't capitalize on it.
It's all good, Paul. We're here to support you no matter what. You still on our team, okay?
Oh, man.
So we're going to do a W today, all right?
All right.
Let's move on to the kid that's making all the waves right now. And we'll throw to the guy that usually has waves, but obviously there's no barber. Jalen, let's talk about Jalen Green, okay? You like that?
I like what you did there.
So Jalen Green, he's decided to just forgo college in general, and he's going to the NBA G League. Just spoke with Woj, and he says that he could make upwards of $1 million by the time you add in that $500,000 that he would make with the G League. But the shoe deals that he can now go out and get, the endorsement deals that he can have because he's not considered an amateur for a year in college. And remember, he's the #1 recruit coming into the 2020 season. So how do you think this kind of changes the game, the landscape of college and NBA basketball moving forward?
This makes Jay Williams and Paul Pierce so happy. I see these gentlemen on TV all of the time, excited about talented prospects that can profit off their likeness and off their talent. And here's a guy that feels like going to college is going to stymie his growth. Being able to get that kind of bread so very young, if you can, you should. Look what's happening with the coronavirus right now. You got to act when situations happen because you don't know what the future can call. And so for him, we know he has game. He has NBA potential. But I'm really happy that he now realizes that, you know what? If college isn't for me, sitting in the classroom, carrying a backpack and trying to stay eligible is the life I want to live, I'm going to get paid to play basketball, the game I love, and I really support it.
Jay Rose, I'm going to take it even further. Number one, I don't want to hear anybody talk about amateurism ever again, because what if colleges aren't allowed to have fans watch? So now all of a sudden, if you're in a football field, if you're in a basketball stadium and fans can't be there and there are no classes, don't try to say that you need to have me as a player, a student athlete, right? Which is an athlete student now. Hey, come here, play for the brand, the university, make us money when you're jeopardizing yourself through a pandemic, supposedly, to go play. That's number one. And number two, I even think it's going to go a step further. Not only are kids going to leave and go overseas, like we saw with LaMelo, or like we see with Jalen Green going to the G League, I also see like a kid like Emoni Bates, who got National Player of the Year as a sophomore.
What up, though? Michigan, that's my guy. That's nephew right there, Jay.
As a sophomore. So as soon as the NBA gets itself back in gear, why can't a kid like that leave early and then go straight to the league?
Oh, you up on him? You such a student of the game. I'm gonna have to bring him on with us, Maria. I gotta introduce him to Paul. He's the chosen one. That's the next KD, fam.
He's the one.
Hey, yeah, I like that kid, but
okay.
Jalen Green.
I'm gonna bring him on with us, dog. I need him to get some of that truth advice. He needs some of that.
That's the right move, though. If you told me out of high school, and I didn't know this because the first player that did it in my era was Kevin Garnett. And so when he went pro, if you told me I could have did that before I decided to go to Kansas, the way my situation was, where moms didn't even have enough to give me a plane ticket home for a spring break, where I couldn't come home for a Christmas break or Thanksgiving, I would have done that. I mean, I remember sitting on campus by myself where everybody was going home and seeing their family for a couple of days, and I'm sitting on the campus working out and all. So if you got an opportunity to make, and they're going to pay you to do it out of high school, I don't see why not. If you can get a job, if you're eligible to get a job at a corporation, if guys like Luka Doncic overseas, and we see many Euros play since the time they were 12, Ricky Rubio, I mean, these guys are making money. If you're getting paid for your skills, why not? And I think the league, you're going to see more and more players do this. Yep. Top high school players do this. Go to the G League or take the LaMelo Ball route and forego college anyway. I know we made this rule up to make the college game better, but there's no way around this now. Kids are going to be making this jump. A lot of unfortunate kids who can't even, like myself, when I was in college, get a flight home for a weekend or a couple weeks and just get paid for my services. And now I think the NBA is going to really think hard into this and to really open this thing up. I mean, we've seen the success that these high school kids that we have legends, Garnett, Kobe, LeBron, Dwight Howard. These guys, come on, man. I mean, it's time.
Like Adam Silver, that's why they're beefing up the G League, right? Think about, like, what are the two hottest things to watch? You either watch pro basketball or you watch high school basketball before you watch college basketball to a degree. Yeah. We know about a lot of these kids overtime. So if you have a brand like that, why not take that right into the G League? That's why they beefed up the price, because Adam Silver knows that college basketball to some degree is a little bit obsolete.
Yeah, and that price, Jay, $500,000. So for everybody who want to get in the game, Uncle Sam going to take half. Your agent going to take 10, 20%, 10% from the contract, 20% from the endorsements. And a sneaky charge that we all have is insurance. Every step we take, our cars, our houses, our life, our health, our dental, like insurance take another 10 to 15% of your cash. So we saying he getting $500K to play in the D League, Maria, but he really get like 190.
Yeah.
That's what he gonna clear. So let's just make sure everybody on the same page about when you start throwing out numbers. That's the true number.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should have known when LaMelo and RJ Hampton decided to go play in Australia that some changes were coming to the G League, because the last thing you want, if you're the commissioner or anybody in the NBA, is these high draft picks going overseas to make money instead of being somewhere like the G League. But I think the question is, and I'm wondering for your guys' input, is should there be a change? Should high schoolers be allowed to just make the league to the NBA? Should this still be kind of a forced situation where you have to be 1 year removed, where you have to go overseas, or you have to play in the G League? If the kid is ready, do you believe they should be able to go after high school, Paul?
Yeah, absolutely. If a team is willing to draft you and take that chance, you're ready. I mean, you're not going to draft a player that you don't believe can have NBA success. I mean, you're going to have some guys that make it successful, and you're going to have some guys that aren't. But the league is not going to take a chance. There are only so many slots in the NBA. So that kid who's ranked 30th in the nation, he might not get drafted. So he'll still have the opportunity to go to college or go overseas and make some money. But we're talking about the best of the best, guys like Jalen Green and eventually Josh Christopher. These guys are going to get drafted because they're the top in high school right now. And so it's, why not do it now? I mean, why not do it now? They're going to pro situations anyway, so you might as well open it up.
This next CBA is when they're going to get it done. I think you're going to have to, and I think that's why you're seeing Adam Silver build up the G League. It essentially is being utilized as a competing entity to college basketball and to overseas, right? Like that's where it is. And if you're a kid in high school, if you're built and if you're ready, any other industry, you're allowed to start earning right away. Any other industry. I think it also lets the NBA move away because it looked for a while like the NBA was in cahoots. Like it was trying to build up the college game to a degree. So the NBA and college, they're moving like this right now, two different directions.
Mm-hmm. I agree with Jay because when you sign, Maria, a letter of intent to Duke, Kansas, Arizona, Kentucky, in theory, you're signing an NBA contract. You're just not getting paid for it. And what ends up happening is your college experience can work for you or against you. It worked for Jay Williams to the maximum. Player of the year, champion. It worked for me to the maximum, a member of the Fab Five. But as somebody that was a couple of years older than Paul and watched him play, he should have went straight to the league. Mm-hmm. And his draft, he didn't even get the love that he should have deserved. And I'm not going to throw no shade at his teammate, Rafe LaFrentz, but that's a perfect example of how the college game can change how you're viewed as a player. And so for these guys to now take their destiny into their own hands and understand they can make some money by playing the game they love, plus get drafted by an NBA team, if you can do it, I advise you should do it.
And J. Rose, one last fact. Anybody out there that says, well, how about all the kids that didn't get drafted? Well, welcome to capitalism. Like, welcome to capitalism. At least let them have that choice. And you know what? If they don't get drafted, let them go to college.
Do you know how many people that feels like, you know what? I want to go straight from college to the league like Maria Taylor. And then they realize that they're just not as versatile. They don't work as hard. And they're not as disciplined. And they can't just get to where she got. It's the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm. I think we're going to continue to see this evolve. So like you said, Jay, well, it'll be interesting to see what that next CBA looks like and how we continue to view amateurs versus professionals and how that transition is made into the NBA. But good luck to Jalen Green. I think we're all rooting for him as he takes that next step. Yes. So guys, I kind of left you with homework, and I just want to know if anyone did it before I let you go. I said someone should watch Cheer, Real Housewives of Atlanta, or Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Did we see like a commercial of 5 minutes? Nothing?
I couldn't do it.
You know what? There's no shot at that for me. No shot.
Be able to do it?
Why do I feel like J. Rose watched it? I feel like J. Rose watched one thing now.
So I can't front, Maria. I have Atlanta ties, so I'll check out that Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Okay. I've checked it out a couple of times. My guy Stevie J and my guy Benzino, if you cast us on it. And I have to reveal something, and she doesn't mind because I asked her permission. Mm-hmm. My mom loves it.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, she loves it. If I'm like, I'm gonna be on television and Real Hip Hop, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, or any of those reality shows are on, she ain't watching me. It's not even close. All day. So I understand why you love it. Can you give us some sort of update from?
You would like one? Okay. I'm going to give you the 1 minute because I just got the 1 minute report. I'm going to give you Love and Hip Hop, okay?
Okay, cool.
Rashida is still with her husband despite the fact that she found out that he cheated and had a baby with somebody else whose job
oh my God.
is being a dancer. Who else is on it? Lil Scrappy, okay, KK. He is still with Bambi. Remember, Bambi was on Flavor of Love.
I saw him at Magic City. That's the one I was watching.
You see, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh,
and his mama is still crazy. So those are the biggest storylines you need to watch. Oh, Jay, well, Denzel's back.
I told you he has to make a cameo.
Well, next time we're on, the hope is that Jalen's mom maybe can stop by and we can talk about love and hip hop.
No.
That's
No, J Rose, get Emoni Bates on. Let's do this.
I will. I'd love to get him on. He'd love to come. I need Paul to talk to him. I just need Paul to talk.
Oh, yeah, I'll come on with y'all.
You know what I mean? I need you to talk to him.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, that's the ultimate tease. Thanks again for joining us for NBA Countdown Stay Home Edition. Hopefully we'll have some special guests for you next week.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.